Man, aren't AR-15s just the best thing? Yeah, they're pretty great, I guess. Wait, what's that over there? What, that thing? You don't want that, Red. It's outdated and antiquated technology. AKs, they're so 50 years ago. Something about it's just so captivating. Like it's calling my name. Red, don't even think about it. 5.56 is much more efficient and effective than the 7.62 by 39, if you can even find the 7.62 by 39. I have to know. Red, stick with AR-15s. They beat AKs in sand and mud torture tests by a mile. ARs are much superior, and AKs are not all that they're cracked up to be. I have to know. Red, don't do it, man. I have to know. What it feels like. Red, no! Oh! Red. Why?
Убирай себе, capitalist swine. Пришло время НКЛ.
Ladies and gentlemen of the interwebs, welcome to my channel where the jokes are wild and the acting is garbage. Today I'm going to be doing an overview of my heavily modified Maadi MISR 10 imported by Century Arms. But first, a word from this channel's sponsor. Today's video was sponsored by my wife. If it wasn't for her fine hard work and booty, I wouldn't be able to afford coming out here making silly YouTube videos that make me happy, and I wouldn't have a weekly allowance to buy ammo and other silly things for my channel. Big shout out to her for letting me be silly and run around on the range like a little silly boy. A brief history of Egyptians' firearm development and arsenal creation. Following World War II, Egypt was left with very few options, most of which were hand-me-downs from the Nazis and participants of World War II, and they had a bunch of 8mm Mauser laying around. So they had a variant that they created of themselves of a finished bolt action that I'm sure someone with a different flavor of autism than I will know exactly what firearm that was. But for until 1961, they were using that as their primary surface weapon until the USSR found an opportunity to make friends with an oil-bearing nation in the Middle East. These rifles would be designated ARMs, or Automatic Rifle MISR, similar to how Romanians are AIM, they have a variant of their own because it's their own animal. Now, the unique thing about the ARMs is they were absolutely 100% parts compatible with the Russian produced and manufactured AKMs. You can take a trunnion from Russian production lines, send it down to Maadi, and they could slap their barrel and their receiver and rivet it together, and it will be 100% perfect fit and 100% parts compatibility. That is what made it an absolutely desirable AK to have in the late 60s and early 80s, when we could actually get fully built ARMs, because for a while that's as close as you can get to an actual AKM from Russia. Now, similar to any father in Section 8, Russia decided they needed to get more cigarettes and a gallon of milk. So they said, "Adios, my sonny, I'm going to get some milk, but you can have your AKM machining and tooling. Just be sure you don't do anything evil with it, and I'll be back someday." And they left. So that brings us to this firearm in particular. This firearm was made in about 1998 and imported by Century Arms. As most of you will know, the assault weapons ban of the 90s would have prohibited the import with pistol grips, threaded barrels, bayonet lugs, basically all the cool things that we know and love about AKs. We weren't allowed to have. And 98 was an interesting time with these imports because they were imported with a 10-round magazine, since the ATF decided that if it can take a 30-round magazine, in this case this is a 40-round KCI mag, if it can take the magazine, it is considered under the penalty of that assault weapons ban and would therefore be destroyed. Maadi began importing them with single stack magwells. In addition, they had a single piece buttstock and pistol grip that had a thumb hole in it, affectionately called by myself and many others the butthole stock. So the first thing that I did was chop that sucker off, refinished it, smoothed it out, refinished the front end and the stock and the pistol grip to all match, reshaped this because it had the ergonomics of a 1x2, and if you try to beat the life out of a fish with a 1x2, you will know that it is very uncomfortable and that you may even consider killing yourself after trying to do that. I reshaped it, stained it, finished it with a really nice Minwax seal with 12 coats of a satin finish, and I am absolutely elated the way it turned out. It makes me happy. It pleasures me in the deepest realms of my heart every time I look at this firearm. And it is an absolute pleasure to fondle. Now, after I had finished refinishing the stock components, the forend, the buttstock, the pistol grip, I was absolutely happy. But after running this AK with single stack mags, 5 of which only 2 worked, I've quickly realized that this was gay and I wanted to get rid of this faggotry as soon as possible. I began scouring the interwebs and finding out that people were milling out the Wassers with Dremels, and I cringed incredibly tightly in my anus and in my chest, because that is permanent damage that you can do to the serialized component of your firearm. And so began my sojourn to take my Maadi arms, which was freshman year in college, just wanting to discover herself, to ready to settle down with a nice guy. Knowing what I had to do, I sought out anybody who could help me. I went to my local gunsmith, who said, "You're wasting your time, sonny. I would rather beat myself off in the back than charge you an arm and a leg to do what you asked me to do." Then an absolute miracle happened. I found a man who had retired as the lead machinist at Lockheed Martin's R&D department. And he said, yeah, it ain't no thing. Let's just pull up to my buddy's 5-axis vise and we'll mill that thing out as big as you want it. And so everything went perfectly. He mic'd everything to be exactly the same on either side and all the way down in these little stabilizing tabs deeper into the mag well. It is absolutely better than I could have ever hoped to imagine, and it takes both the KCI steel mags as well as the P80 AK mags, which I had milled it out for. Now, once it was cut out, I was super excited and slapped a double stack mag full and went to mag dumping some trash, and first round went off perfectly, and the second round was click no bang. I quickly realized that the bolt face was skinnier to fit through the feed lips of a single stack AK magazine, and so I had to get a Romanian surplus bolt which fit perfectly. That was something that a lot of forums said is an issue, is some parts aren't compatible because the lockup is a little bit different, but this one fits perfectly, and I have had zero issues feeding, extracting, and firing since putting it in. The firearm was initially pretty grindy and stiff. It was really hard to work the action when the hammer dropped because the hammer was likely a century swapped hammer because of the 922R compliancy. So I had to polish the face of the hammer that wasn't striking on the firing pin and the bottom of the bolt carrier group. However, after having done that, it is now absolutely buttery smooth, and I couldn't have hoped for a more smoother functioning, pleasant shooting AK. Now, aside from the thumb hole stock and the single stack magwell, some defining factors of the Maadis were we have two positions, safe and fire, which is semi-auto only, and there's a tab here that is a little bit higher than your standard Wasser variety. We also have a ladder sight that progresses up to 1,000 meters instead of only just 800. From there, we have our bayonet lugs circumcised off of there, which makes me sad because they no longer exist in this dimension, as well as a lack of threads at the tip of the barrel. Now, one of the very interesting quirks about this firearm in particular is that the barrel from the tip of the muzzle to the base of the trunnion is crooked. We have a deviation from one side to the other of about 1 millimeter to the right, as well as the front sight is canted to the right as well, further exaggerating the right shooting tendencies. Now, Maadi barrels are very renowned for their precision, durability, and accuracy. So that, coupled with the 1,000 meter ladder sight, if we get this video up to 1,000 likes, I will zero this rifle at 100 meters, find the best grouping ammo, and we'll go to my local range and we will walk this rifle out to 1,000 meters and see what she's capable of. A couple other things to note are a surplus sling that I just have on here for the vibes, and Ranger bands, which I have incorporated into the pistol grip because I liked the way it felt. It gave me a little bit more purchase on the slippery varnish that I have put on there, as well as the 3-stripe Adidas Ranger bands on the front doing the same thing they're doing on the pistol grip, giving me a little bit of texture and a little bit more grip when getting funky and crunky. But that is enough autism for this video. Let's get on with the exciting stuff that you came to see. Today I'm going to be shooting this Tela 7.62x39. It is a steel case with, it looks like some sort of sealed primer and sealed right there around the neck. Alright, so I'm going to start off with the bill drill, and let's see if we can catch some fireballs with this ammo. See what we got. Yeah, that's about as good as aim as a bad guy in a movie. Let's try something else. So, me and my buddy, Tactical Trash, check out his channel on YouTube, by the way, great content. We came up with this drill called the P-Zone drill. Now, the idea is you've got modern militaries with body armor, so that typically protects your A-zone on the chest. And then, you know, so you either have a headshot, you know, that's your option, which is kind of hard, people, you know, bob and weave, or you can go to the P-Zone. Center of mass, lots of blood, lots of squishy, lots of very delicate items right in this zone, and we call that the P-Zone, referring to the pelvic girdle. As you can see, we put it in at an angle, and this one looks to be of white American variety. And so we're gonna do the drill. It's 3 to the dick, P-Zone, 2 to the chest, and 1 to the head. Let's go check it out. So right here, it looks like I only got 2 in the P-Zone right there. Just right there on the scrotum, and kind of center of the target. I got 2 shots right here, the ones that aren't marked. Those would have been fatal if they hadn't been wearing body armor, and 1 right dab in the chest. I think I'm finally dialing in where this thing is hitting. It looks like I have just enough ammo to run this one more time, and then we'll move on to something else. Again, 2 hits and a miss. I got 1 right in the orange on the chest, and looks like I doubled that one up right there, and then 1 kind of off to the cheekbone there. So not bad. What you've all been waiting for. Do some gump fire. That's my buddy over at PSRC. Let's get into it. Well guys, thanks for watching my silly little video, and we'll see you... What? What, that thing? You want to see me gump fire that? Alright. And that's all the money I can afford for bullets today. Thank you guys for dropping in and checking out my video, the Maadi MISR 10. It was a fun video to shoot. I've been wanting to make this video for a while, and I'm glad I finally got around to it. I've got lots more coming to the channel, lots of juicy ideas that have been pulsating through my brain, and I want to get them out in video format. So if you enjoy this content, subscribe. If you like this video, please like it, because the more likes I get, the more I can convince my wife to spend more money on bullets and firearms to create this content. Thank you so much, you guys, and we'll see you later. Got a little bit of shrapnel. Probably when I was gump firing, it hit the dirt and splattered everywhere. Be aware of what's downrange, kids.